Hello, everybody. Here we are. We're going to do Isaiah chapter 12. Now, you remember there's been a big judgment going on against Israel and other provinces have been, or nations have been used against them to punish them. Now, though it is a little hard without looking at a concordance, which is what enduring word is, through the whole thing to put it all into historical perspective, there's one thing that we can learn without doing that, and that's who God is, in the sense that this is a God with feelings, and this is a God who is showing you reality, at least with the offense. When children are rebellious, or when children hurt you, or don't give back to you after you have raised them up, okay? So this is giving you a real reality check of what is normal emotion about these things, okay? I want to say almost it's mental health. It's an example of, because some people, especially those who've grown up in an abusive household or a chaotic household, they often don't know what normal is, okay? And what you're seeing here from the Lord are normal emotions, normal feelings. I'm not going to say God's healthy or unhealthy. God's always healthy. But what I'm going to say is you are seeing normal offense at rebellion. Okay, this is normal offense against rebellion. He's now taken it in hand and he is punishing. And Israel feels like, oh, Lord, please stop. Put your hand down. We can't take this, okay? And he's using the prophet Isaiah to tell them this is what's going to happen, okay? You're going to be punished now, just like a naughty child would be punished. So we learn a lot about the Lord, even if we don't have the exact historical compass to place some of these things in. Now, I did do you guys and myself a favor, and I looked into the more difficult of the 2 or 3 chapters we're going to cover, and I do have an idea of what's going on there. So I'll explain when we get there. I believe it's in chapter 13, this is chapter 12, and this is a song of praise. Okay, so let's get started. It says, "In that day you will say, I will praise you, Lord. Although you were angry with me, your anger has turned away." Now, any good parent, after giving a child a spanking, still loves the child, okay? So once again, we're seeing normal offense. Now, I know with my kids, when I would show normal offense at rebellion, they would persecute me or try to persecute me for it. Like, you're not acting normal. And I used to say, there was one thing I used to say to my daughter. I used to say, your character, how did I put it? I don't remember. I was going to say, it was something like, when I remember it, I'm going to tell you, because it was really good, but I'm just not in the mode to remember it right now. But it was something about, I'm just not going to go there. All right. So, to get back on track, what I want to say is that a parent, my children would say, oh, your emotions are wrong. No, they're not. Okay. Being offended at rebellion is normal. So here we go. I will praise you, Lord, although you were angry with me. Your anger has turned away and you've comforted me, which is what we do after we punish our children. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. The Lord himself is my strength and my defense. He's become my salvation. With joy, you'll draw water from the wells of salvation. In that day, you'll say, give praise to the Lord. Proclaim his name. Make known among the nations what he's done, and proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord, for he's done glorious things. Let this be known to all the world. Shout aloud and sing for joy, people of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel among you. Now, it's going to really bother me trying to remember what it was I used to say to my daughter. Let me just think 1 minute. This is 35 years ago. I used to say, my character defects, it's actually not going to be appropriate now that I think about it, because I'm talking about righteous offense. But even righteous offense, my daughter used to try to manipulate me and tell me, oh, you're acting weird. No, I wasn't. And I had a firm handle. I was strong in the Lord, and I knew what was going on. All right, so let's do Isaiah 13. Okay, this is the one I read about. Now, I'm going to tell you what I read. First of all, it's a prophecy against Babylon, spoken from the mouth of Isaiah. And there are going to be scriptures in this particular chapter 13, that are going to refer to the end of the world. Okay, so it's going to be a mirror, sort of. There's going to be the destruction of Babylon. In other words, God is going to show Israel now that he will destroy their enemies. Yes, he punished them, but he will destroy their enemies. They haven't been just punished. Now their enemies are going to get punished, and he's showing that avenging and that retribution to them through Isaiah's mouth. At the same time, he's talking about what's going to happen at the end of time also. Okay, there's great parallels, and that's why you see in Revelation 18 it says the same thing, the end of Babylon. Okay, and I'm starting to wonder if just America is the Babylon, because we're the ones that created the vaccine, and Revelation 18 talks about through her sorceries the whole world came under her spells, and through her sorceries, which sorceries we know has to do with pharmakia, which has to do with drugs, which could be looked at as vaccine. Just my conjecture. I don't believe in coincidence, so we can look at that. Doesn't mean it's written in stone, because it's my word. It's not God's word. But we are called to critically think about what we're reading. So what I have to say to you about Isaiah chapter 13 is simply that you're going to see, as he's talking about how he's going to punish Babylon, he also refers to the end of the world. There are similarities, okay? And Jesus even quoted in Matthew 24 part of this chapter when he was telling the disciples what the end of the world was going to look like, okay? All right. A prophecy against Babylon that Isaiah, son of Amoz, saw. Raise a banner on a bare hilltop, shout to them, beckon to them to enter the gates of the nobles. I have commanded those I prepared for battle. I've summoned my warriors to carry out my wrath, those who rejoice in my triumph. Listen, a noise on the mountains like that of a great multitude. Listen, an uproar among the kingdoms like nations massing together. Now that's definitely what's going to happen at the end of this world. Nations are going to mass together, okay, to fight Israel. The Lord Almighty is mustering an army for war. They come from faraway lands, from the ends of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his wrath to destroy the whole country. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. Okay, those are Revelation words. It will come like destruction from the Almighty. Because of this, all hands will go limp. Every heart will melt with fear. Terror will seize them. Pain and anguish will grip them. They'll writhe like a woman in labor. They'll look aghast at each other, their faces aflame. See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day with wrath and fierce anger. Okay, so as he's telling Babylon, this is what I'm going to do. As he's telling Jerusalem or Israel, this is what I'm going to do to your enemy, Babylon, for what they did to you. This is also reflecting what's going to happen at the last trump here on earth, okay? The last moment. See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day with wrath and fierce anger to make the land desolate and destroy the sinners within it. The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened. Now, this is definitely end of the world talk right here. And the moon will not give its light. This is all written in Revelation. I will punish the world, not Israel or not Babylon, but the world for its evil, the wicked for their sins. I will put an end to the arrogance of the haughty and will humble the pride of the ruthless. I will make people scarcer than pure gold, more rare than the gold of Ophir. Therefore, I'll make the heavens tremble and the earth will shake from its place at the wrath of the Lord Almighty in the day of his burning anger. So this is something to fear, folks, okay? Like a hunted gazelle, like a sheep without a shepherd, they'll all return to their own people. They'll flee to their native land. Whoever's captured will be thrust through. All who are caught will fall by the sword. Their infants will be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be looted and their wives violated. See, I will stir. Now, this is not the Lord doing it, okay? It's evil men doing it, but the Lord has stirred it up and he's using those evil men to punish wickedness on the earth. It's very sad and it's very scary. So in essence, it is the Lord, okay? I mean, we can blame man to a certain point, but the Lord is saying right here, I'm stirring this up. And he's going to use evil people to come against evil people. It's just so sad. Their houses will be looted, their wives violated. See, I will stir up against them the Medes. Okay, so now we go back to Babylon, okay, as he's showing Israel, this is what I'm going to do to Babylon for what they did to you. See, I will stir up against the Medes who don't care for silver and have no delight in gold. Their bows will strike down the young men. They'll have no mercy on infants, nor will they look with compassion on children. Babylon, the jewel of kingdoms, the pride and glory of the Babylonians will be overthrown by God. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, she'll never be inhabited or lived in through all generations. There no nomads will pitch their tents. There no shepherds will rest their flocks, but desert creatures will lie there. Jackals will fill her houses. There the owls will dwell, and there the wild goats will leap about. Hyenas will inhabit her strongholds, jackals her luxurious palaces. Her time is at hand, and her days will not be prolonged. Ouch. Horrifying. All right, so let's do 14. This one is easier to understand. The Lord will have compassion on Jacob. And of course, Jacob means Israel. Once again, he will choose Israel. Okay, so when you think that, if God had a second chance to choose you again, he might not, he will, okay? He made a choice in you and he will never let go of that choice. He doesn't regret his choice. He knows what he's doing. And even if you have been rebellious and dismayed him in many ways, he still has chosen you to serve him. And he will complete the good work he started in you. So have no fear. It's a process, folks, and it's hard. And pruning is tough when you feel the Lord pruning your branches. And punishment is tough, and we do get punished, okay? All right. The Lord will have compassion on Jacob. Once again, he will choose Israel and will settle them in their own land. Foreigners will join them and unite with the descendants of Jacob. Nations will take them and bring them to their own place, and Israel will take possession of the nations and make them male and female servants in the Lord's land. They will make captives of their captors and rule over their oppressors. So they're getting a leg up here, okay? On the day the Lord gives you relief from your suffering and turmoil and from the harsh labor forced on you, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon. How the oppressor has come to an end. How his fury has ended. The Lord has broken the rod of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, which in anger struck down peoples with unceasing blows, and in fury subdued nations with relentless aggression. All the lands are at rest and at peace. They break into singing. Even the junipers and the cedars of Lebanon gloat over you and say, now that you've been laid low, no one comes to cut us down. The realm of the dead below is all astir to meet you at your coming. It rouses the spirits of the departed to greet you. All those who were leaders in the world, it makes them rise from their thrones, all those who were kings over the nations. They will all respond. They will say to you, you also have become weak as we are. You've become like us. All your pomp's been brought down to the grave. In other words, you're dead like we are. Okay? All your arrogance was for nothing. Along with the noise of your harps, maggots are spread out beneath you and worms cover you. So we're talking about Hades here, the grave. How you've fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. Okay, this is about Satan. Okay, so understand what you're hearing here. All right, this is a rebuke to Satan. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star. Lucifer meant, I think, son of the morning. I'll look it up in a second. Morning star, son of the dawn. You've been cast down to earth. He's here with us. You who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. This is after Revelation stuff, okay? Or Revelation. This is when Satan is going to get, this is Satan's rebuke from the Lord right here. Let me start again because I keep interrupting. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You've been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I'll raise my throne above the stars of God. Now, the stars of God is usually a reference to those that serve God in heaven, like angels. I'll sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. See how proud he is? I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit. So the Lord quotes him, saying, I heard you. This is what you said. I'm going to bring you right down to the pit. Those who see you stare at you. They ponder your fate. Is this the man who shook the earth and made kingdoms tremble? That's what we're going to say when we see Satan. The man who made the world a wilderness, who overthrew its cities and would not let his captives go home. All the kings of the nations lie in state, each in his own tomb. But you are cast out of your tomb like a rejected branch. You're covered with the slain, with those pierced by the sword. Those who descend to the stones of the pit, like a corpse trampled underfoot, you will not join them in burial. For you have destroyed your land and killed your people. Now, he's speaking to Babylon. He's saying what you've done is destroyed yourself, but he's also speaking to Satan and saying what you've done, you've killed yourself by doing it. Let the offspring of the wicked never be mentioned again. Prepare a place to slaughter his children for the sins of their ancestors. That's terrifying. They are not to rise to inherit the land and cover the earth with their cities. No more wicked people. This sounds like a reference to the 1,000-year reign where the wicked are gone and Jesus is among us, ruling. And we will judge nations. and evil will be banished from among us. And we'll look at that again when we get into the New Testament. They are not to rise to inherit the land and cover the earth with their cities. I will rise up against them, declares the Lord Almighty. I will wipe out Babylon's name and survivors. So remember, Babylon enslaved the Israelites. God uses the name Babylon to refer to a few different oppressing, very evil things from beginning to end in the Bible. It is used in Revelation. So these words are eternal. They can minister to a bunch of different situations without losing their meaning, and that's what you're hearing here. You're hearing a rebuke and a promise of punishment to Babylon, but you're also hearing a rebuke and a death sentence for Satan. And then you're also hearing what's going to happen at the very end of the world. Okay? Whew. I will rise up against them, verse 22, declares the Lord Almighty. I will wipe out Babylon's name and survivors, her offspring and descendants, declares the Lord. I will turn her into a place for owls and into swampland. Now that's funny because the group I don't like, Q, they have this whole thing that DC is literally swampland and it's going to be turned back into swampland. So perhaps in their crazy, they actually have a prophecy correct. I don't know. Okay, I'm just bringing that up because I've heard that many times from Q that DC is going to be, was a swamp and will be turned back into a swamp. You know, and this is outside of us calling DC a swamp or whoever coined that phrase. Maybe it was Trump. Outside of that, Q is saying it's going to be turned back into the swamp it literally was in the beginning. All right. Even a blind pig gets a truffle once in a while. That's what I'll say about that and Q. All right. I will turn her into a place for owls and into swampland. I will sweep her with the broom of destruction, declares the Lord Almighty. The Lord Almighty has sworn, surely as I have planned, so it will be, and as I have purposed, so it will happen. I will crush the Assyrian in my land. Now, Assyria was actually more prevalent and more popular than Babylon in this time period. But he's saying, look, even the big, bad Assyria, that is so revered in this time, they aren't going to make it either. I will crush the Assyrian in my land. On my mountains, I will trample him down. His yoke will be taken from my people and his burden removed from their shoulders. This is the plan determined for the whole world. So the plan isn't changing, folks. It's going to happen again. Remember, Ecclesiastes said what happened before will happen again, will be again. This is the hand stretched out over all nations. For the Lord Almighty has purposed, and who can thwart him? His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? Okay, we're going to read that again. Isaiah 14:26. This is the plan determined for the whole world. This is the hand stretched out over all nations. For the Lord Almighty has purposed, and who can thwart him? His hand is stretched out. Who can turn it back? This prophecy came in the year King Ahaz died. Do not rejoice, all you Philistines, that the rod that struck you is broken. From the root of that snake will spring up a viper. Its fruit will be a darting, venomous serpent. The poorest of the poor will find pasture, and the needy will lie down in safety. But your root I will destroy by famine. It will slay your survivors. Wail, you gate. Howl, you city. Melt away, all you Philistines. And they are no more. There is a remnant that know that heritage-wise they are Philistines, but they're gone. A cloud of smoke comes from the north, and there's not a straggler in its ranks. What answer shall be given to the envoys of that nation? The Lord has established Zion, and in her his afflicted people will find refuge. I love you very much. Hang in there. Take what you can from this. We can't put all, this one was easier to put in perspective, perhaps because I read up on it a bit. And I will do that before every chapter because it's important. But what I really want you to pull out of it is that God is righteous, okay? And he's showing you his offense. He's showing you that after he punishes, he binds up and he comforts. He's showing you that he avenges for you. He will avenge you. And he's giving you some idea that what's happened before is going to happen again. He crushed Babylon once. He's going to crush Babylon again. It's going to have a different connotation, but it's going to get crushed in the same way. And we'll see, okay? Our call is simply to be obedient and love the Lord and praise his name. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you. Bye-bye.